And it's funny because nicotine withdrawal, so many people fear it and they dread it. And a lot of that has to do with the psychology of going into quitting. They've heard about someone else's experiences. They've heard ads from Nicorette and other companies saying nicotine withdrawal is the worst thing in the world. And the reality is it's not. But the psychology that we go into quitting with often amplifies those physical withdrawal symptoms. It's officially 2025, which means there's a lot of people with the New Year's resolution of quitting vaping and quitting smoking. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 4 methods that you can utilize to quit vaping or quit smoking. Method number 1 is going to be rooted in the mindset surrounding quitting, and I'm going to share with you 4 different books that can help you develop that mindset. Method number 2 is going to be rooted in different supplements available out there on the market today that can help you quit. Method number 3 is going to be discussing nicotine replacement therapy products. There's nicotine toothpicks, there's nicotine gums, there's nicotine patches. We're going to talk about all the differences between those. Method number 4 is going to be a combination of supplementation and nicotine replacement therapy products. If you wind up enjoying the content in today's video or need links to these products, I put links in the video description, and then I pinned some links in the top comments of today's video if you need more resources on quitting. So first and foremost, no matter how you quit, is the mindset surrounding quitting. And there's 4 books that can really help you with. The first one would be Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Vaping, or Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking. It's essentially the same book. They just traded out the word vape for cigarette, but I digress. In this book, Alan Carr does a wonderful job of helping the reader realize that there's no true benefit to continuing to smoke or continuing to vape. Alan Carr describes smoking as putting on a tight shoe only to come home, take off the shoe, and say, oh my gosh, I have such a good amount of relief now. Thank God I took that shoe off. His argument is that the only relief, the only benefit that you're getting is the benefit of delaying the inevitable nicotine cravings that are going to strike when you're stuck in addiction. This does a really good job at devaluing the substance. Book number 2 that I would recommend is less commonly known. It's called The Freedom Model: Escaping the Addiction and Recovery Trap. This book, it's a lengthy book, but it really does an excellent job at helping the reader realize that addiction, although can be challenging, is ultimately a choice, and that you have freedom of choice. And this book does an excellent job going into detail about how these companies have really hardwired people into thinking that addiction has to be this unescapable, lifelong disease process that they go through. And breaking that mindset for me when I had to quit was huge. Now, 2 other books that I don't have on hand would be Rational Recovery by Jack Trimpey. It's a book about quitting alcohol, but you could simply take the word alcohol and replace it with a cigarette or a vape. And Rational Recovery, basically the premise of that book is that you have 2 sections in your brain. You have the human brain and you have the animal brain. And it basically states that the animal brain is not your way of thinking. It's not a rational way of thinking. And it provides you with a step-by-step process to call out that animal brain, the part of the brain that says, I want a cigarette, I want to hit a vape just one more time, and basically call BS on that and then break the addiction doing that. It's a really simple technique at the end of the day, but that book is definitely worth a read. And the last book I would recommend is Dopamine Nation by Dr. Anna Lembke. Dopamine Nation does an excellent job at explaining the science and the neurochemical pathways and changes that occur in a person's brain in addiction. And I believe once you understand how dopamine works, and once you understand this dopamine-seeking behavior that all humans have, that everyone has, it's really easy to kind of work backwards to break down that addiction and break away from it. So those are the 4 books that I would recommend. Again, all 4 books are linked in the video description through Amazon affiliate links. Now, if you want to save time reading those books, I do offer one-on-one coaching sessions. You can also learn about those in the links in the video description, where I'll kind of speed run you through the mindset necessary to quit. Method number 2 when it comes to quitting is supplementation. So my favorite supplements for quitting, there's about 4 of them that I usually recommend. First and foremost is a supplement called NAC, or N-acetylcysteine. Early literature shows that N-acetylcysteine might be effective at reducing cravings, and not only cravings for nicotine, but also for stimulants, for sugary foods, for cannabis, for cocaine, for alcohol. It just seems to be really good at reducing cravings because of N-acetylcysteine's impact on glucosamine in the brain. NAC is generally speaking a safe supplement. Again, always talk to your doctor, but if you're going to purchase it, I usually recommend the Vitamin Shop brand. They do third-party testing on their products, and anywhere between 1,200 and 2,400 milligrams a day. Typically, you purchase N-acetylcysteine in 600 milligram capsules. And you would take these supplements for a period of about 1 to 3 months. I usually recommend 3 months because it takes about 90 days once you quit vaping or quit smoking for the nicotine receptors to return back down to normal levels. So supplement number 1 to reduce cravings, N-acetylcysteine. Supplement number 2, when you quit nicotine, this is a stressful process on your body. You're going through a process of detox and withdrawal. And then you also may have the added stress of cravings. KSM-66 ashwagandha has been clinically studied to help reduce cortisol levels and increase a person's tolerance to stress. So KSM-66 ashwagandha is clinically proven at helping a person physically and psychologically manage stress. KSM-66 ashwagandha also has a positive impact on sleep, on muscle recovery, on blood sugar levels, on cortisol levels, all things that are impacted when you're quitting smoking or quitting vaping. So the combination of KSM-66 and N-acetylcysteine, I think, is a powerhouse combination when it comes to quitting. Again, I like Vitamin Shop brand KSM-66 capsules. They have third-party testing on all their products, and you're going to be taking anywhere from 300 to 600 milligrams a day. Now, word of caution, KSM-66 ashwagandha does have the ability, it appears from some literature, some testimonials, to impact thyroid function, particularly people who struggle with hyperthyroidism. Now, here's the catch. Here's the rub of this whole thing. Some people may have this and they might notice an increased heart rate, but it's difficult because quitting nicotine can also impact heart rate and lead to some fluctuations or some fluttering and stuff like that when you stop. So is it the supplement or is it the detox and withdrawal process? Working with your doctor to figure that out might be your best option. But KSM and NAC. Now, again, taking that 1 to 3 months. Another 2 supplements or 3 that I think are worth mention are creatine monohydrate, 2.5 to 5 grams a day. Creatine monohydrate, there's tons of literature coming out on creatine when it comes to recovery and when it comes to depression and helping aid in depression and battling depression. There appears to be, and there has positive impacts on blood sugar, something that fluctuates a lot when you quit nicotine. So creatine monohydrate, you can find that at your local supplement store, 2.5 to 5 grams a day. For most people, 2.5 grams is probably going to do the trick. And I really use that as a recovery and mental health supplement. Another supplement, especially in regard to depression and focus, lion's mane. Lion's mane is one of those nootropic supplements that a lot of people can ascertain benefit from. Usually what I'll do with people is I'll start them on KSM-66 ashwagandha, and then if we feel like that's losing its effect, we'll switch them to lion's mane. So I don't usually combine ashwagandha and lion's mane. I usually encourage the person to do their own research and then start with the supplement that works better for them in conjunction with N-acetylcysteine and potentially creatine monohydrate. Lastly, beetroot powder. Beetroot powder has a whole host of supplements. You can look all of them up from immune health, but mostly I'm interested in it from a circulatory health standpoint. It's really, really good at helping battle high blood pressure and promoting a healthy circulation. All things that would be relevant to someone who's quitting smoking or quitting vaping. Now, we took KSM-66 ashwagandha and N-acetylcysteine. We're the only people in the world to do this. And we created a chewing gum product. This is what the chewing gum looks like. It's called Kick It, Crave Less Chewing Gum. And you can find that below or learn more about that below right here on YouTube Shopping or in the link in the pinned comment. I made a free PDF handout that lists all these different supplements that you can download with the link in the pinned comment to this video to recap all this stuff. Incredible product. Kick It, Crave Less chewing gum. I'd highly recommend it. A lot of people even use this as a lifestyle supplement. Other things, nicotine replacement therapy. So there's a bunch of different types of NRT out there on the market today. You have nicotine patches, you have nicotine gum, you have nicotine lozenges, you have nicotine mints, you have nicotine sprays. And I'm going to start with talking about nicotine patches. Now, for most people, if you go get a nicotine patch, you're going to start on what they refer to as step 3, which is a 21 milligram nicotine patch. It's a little clear patch that you put on your skin. It's common to cause skin irritation, so they encourage you to put it on different parts of your body when you use it over the course of a few weeks or months, however long you're using it for. And usually people start at step 1. It's a 21 milligram patch a day for weeks 1 through 6. Step 2 is a 14 milligram nicotine patch every day for weeks 7 through 8. And then step 3 is a 7 milligram patch every day for weeks 9 through 10. So again, here's that theme of getting you through the first 3 months, through the first 90 days because that's about how long it takes to create new habits and about how long it takes for the nicotine receptors in your body to rebalance. Now, on the note of patches, personally, I find the 21 milligram patch for people that we work with to often be too strong. So we're usually starting people on step 2 or step 3, which is the 14 milligram or the 7 milligram patch when they're quitting. I am a fan of nicotine patches, and I wasn't always, but I am now, because nicotine patches, in my opinion, have a really low abuse potential. So when you get into the gums and the lozenges and especially the sprays, it's not uncommon for someone to chew like 20 plus pieces of gum a day and get really addicted to the Nicorette gum or nicotine gum, or spraying the nicotine spray all day long. Now, arguably, that's better than vaping all day long or chain smoking, but I think a nicotine patch, something that's time released, that's going to limit room for user error, is probably your safest and best bet. Now, just be careful though. Sometimes people will use like a 21 milligram patch. They'll also use nicotine gum and they'll keep smoking, and then they'll wind up in the hospital with like a nicotine toxicity or a nicotine overdose. So if you're using the patch, please be careful and consider working with your physician. But nicotine patches, now brand-wise, I like Target's brand. They have really good pricing. Otherwise, you're going to find the best prices on Amazon. I like Target brand versus Amazon because sometimes Amazon, the sellers will ship like products that are like close to expiration or really old products. And I just know if you're going to Target and buying their brand or Nicorette brand from Target, you're going to be getting a quality product. And there's some of those store guarantees behind that, okay? You don't have to worry about like counterfeits and stuff as much. So nicotine patches. Now, other products on the market for nicotine replacement therapy are nicotine gums. You have Nicorette being one of the more popular brands. You can find this in a 2 milligram, or you can get nicotine gum over the counter in a 4 milligram. Now, again, this is Target's brands. This is Nicorette brand, okay? Usually when it comes to a nicotine gum, I'm recommending either the 4 or the 2 milligram. There's some brands out there on the market also that we'll talk about in a minute, like Lucy. They're technically not nicotine replacement therapy products. They might have been approved recently as one, but at the time I'm making this, I don't think they were officially approved as NRT, but they use the same ingredients as Target brand and your Nicorette brand products, nicotine pulled acrylics. Now, they make a 6 milligram gum as well. Now, nicotine gums. When it comes to nicotine gum, here's my beef. I think it has a high rate of abuse potential, so it's easy to chew nicotine gum all day long constantly, unlike using a patch. So that's one problem I have with it. And again, I think most people can get away with just using a 2 milligram gum throughout the day. I don't think you need a 4 or a 6 milligram in most cases. Remember, our goal is to get those nicotine receptors in your body back down to lower levels. So if we can use a low dose of nicotine as we're using NRT, I think we're going to be better off, and it makes the whole quitting process, in my opinion, just easier in the long run for the person. Now, you're going to notice when you buy the gums, there's coated gums and there's uncoated gums, okay? The coated gum usually has a little bit better flavoring. It's a little harder to chew, which some people really like that from an oral fixation standpoint. And I've read that the uncoated gum hits faster and that the coated nicotine gum is a little more of a time release thing. The nicotine gums may be nice for someone who's quitting Zyn or products like that. You chew the gum and then you tuck it in between your lip and your jaw and you suck on it, and that's how the nicotine gets absorbed. Our nicotine-free product also works the same way. You chew this gum up, you tuck it in between your cheek and your jaw, and then you just suck on it, and the ingredients get directly absorbed into the bloodstream. Same thing with a patch. Whereas if you were taking like a capsule of KSM 66 or N-acetylcysteine or a supplement capsule, first it has to go through your digestive tract and then your kidneys and liver, and then it gets into your bloodstream. So I find the absorption on chewing gums to be way better. If we're talking about nicotine, you're talking a gum or a patch to be really good. Now, that's the gum. Some people will use a combination of patches and nicotine gums. If you're doing that combination of NRT, a combined NRT approach to quitting, I usually recommend, this is my recommendation to people that we work with, talk to your doctor about it. We usually recommend a 7 milligram patch and a 2 milligram gum, no more than 3 to 4 times a day with the gum. You just put the patch on in the morning and take it off at night. And we recommend those lower doses to steer away from the potential of nicotine toxicity or nicotine overdose. So if you're going to do a combined NRT approach, I'm usually recommending lower doses of nicotine in patches and gums. You can use the patches alone. You can use the gum alone on its own. You don't need to do that combination, okay? Again, I like the patches though. Time released, no big room for user error. Now, another thing out there on the market is nicotine toothpicks. So you have two brands out there, Pixatine, and then you have Zip-X, okay? Pixatine has been around for a very long time. I do believe they are an FDA-approved form of nicotine replacement therapy, and Pixatine is a pretty clean product. Like, they don't really use artificial sweeteners or flavorings or things like that. They got a long track record, and they come in 2 to, I believe, 3 milligram nicotine toothpicks. Now, I like the nicotine toothpicks because, again, the room for abuse potential, in my opinion, is pretty low because most people aren't going to be at their job or interacting socially while chewing on a toothpick all day long, okay? So it's a self-limiting device to use, in my opinion. Whereas a gum, you could wind up chewing this literally from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed. So I think there's a higher room for abuse potential with a gum. I think there's less of a chance of abuse potential with a toothpick, okay? But nicotine toothpicks are an option. Zip-X has some other flavors, but I do think they have some more. And please check their website, email the companies, because I don't want to misspeak. But I do think they might have, like, they have some sucralose in here, and maybe some other flavorings that could upset people's stomachs. So just be cautious of that, okay? Our gum does have sucralose, but we did avoid using aspartame. Aspartame, ACE-K or ACE-K, aspartame or ACE-K, are common ingredients in other nicotine replacement therapy gums. And sometimes people are really sensitive to this aspartame, and then that creates problems for them, like headache, nausea, stomach upset. So we avoided that in our product if you're sensitive to aspartame or ACE-K. There's another approach, so that's nicotine replacement therapy products. You can do, and we talked about combination of nicotine replacement therapy products. You can also do a combination of NRT and supplementation. So one of the most common things we do with people here when they work with us in our offices is we do the Kick It Crave Less chewing gum. It's 3 to 5 pieces of gum a day. A 90 count bottle will last you a month. A 3-pack 90 count will last you 3 months at 3 pieces a day. And we usually do the chewing gum with a 7 milligram nicotine patch. And that typically does the trick for a person. Or if they don't chew gum or they don't want our gum, we'll do the capsules, NAC capsules and KSM 66 capsules with a 7 milligram patch. I find with the supplementation, most people are able to start off at a much lower dose of nicotine replacement therapy or just not use it at all. I've had tons of people quit just using our supplements. I've had the most people quit just through reading books and having the right mindset and stopping cold turkey. Now, stopping cold turkey, just stopping, no nicotine replacement therapy, nothing else, maybe some supplements. You're immediately going to detox the nicotine, and your nicotine receptors are going to go back down to normal levels very rapidly, okay? Which is good. That's ultimately what we want. For some people, and you're done with it. You're done with all the BS, okay? And it's funny because nicotine withdrawal, so many people fear it and they dread it. And a lot of that has to do with the psychology of going into quitting. They've heard about someone else's experiences. They've heard ads from Nicorette and other companies saying nicotine withdrawal is the worst thing in the world. And the reality is it's not. But the psychology that we go into quitting with often amplifies those physical withdrawal symptoms. Now, for some people, if they are getting heart palpitations or fluctuations or their cortisol's crashing or serious depression after quitting, nicotine replacement therapy can be a reasonable option, okay? The last thing I'll say about all this is the mindset is the most important thing. So whether you use NRT, supplements, combination approaches, whatever it is, you have to have the right mindset or you're going to fail. Now, again, reading those books that I mentioned will help with that. We have one-on-one coaching. And then lastly, maybe you don't want to do this on your own and maybe you need some support. We have a free 7-day trial to the Addiction Mindset School community. It's a group coaching community where I work with people in a group setting, helping them quit these things. So if you need some community support, some guidance, some accountability, be sure to check out that link in the pinned comment to start your free trial of the Addiction Mindset School community. After the free trial ends, it's $27 a month. You can cancel anytime. This was probably the most comprehensive video I've made on this topic, and I hope it helps you out.